In the silence of old photographs, they waited, faces frozen in time, their stories fading with the years. These were the soldiers of a fractured America, men who marched beneath the southern sun, their eyes fixed on an uncertain tomorrow. Now, through the power of color restoration, their world returns to life. The dirt, the fabric, the quiet defiance in every gaze. This is not just history revisited, it's memory reborn. Welcome to Civil War Echoes. Private Decatur Teague, 8th Georgia State Troops. Teague enlisted on 7 November 1861 in Elegy, Gilmer County, Georgia. He died as a result of typhoid fever on either 2 or 3 February 1862. Captain Abner Monroe Reynolds, Center Hill Guards, Company B, 16th Georgia Infantry. Reynolds enlisted on 17 July 1861. He was killed in action at Crampton's Gap, Maryland during the Sharpsburg Campaign. Private Martin Deadweiler Webb, Company I, 15th Georgia Infantry. Webb enlisted in Elberton, Elbert County, Georgia, on 15 July 1861. Aside from absences due to illness, he was present for the entire war and surrendered at Appomattox. He had 4 brothers who also served in the military. 2 of them, Andrew and John, also served in the 15th Georgia, and both were wounded at Gettysburg. Andrew was rendered unconscious by an exploding shell and was carried from the field by his brothers. He did not wake up for 7 hours. The next day, John was in turn himself wounded. Martin survived the war and died in 1919 in Elbert County, Georgia. Sergeant George Washington McMillan, Company F, 24th Georgia Infantry. McMillan enlisted as a sergeant on 24 August 1861 in Lawrenceville, Georgia. He was wounded sometime in 1862, and in 1864 he resigned from his position as a sergeant. Private James William Thornton, Company F, 38th Georgia Infantry. Thornton enlisted on 18 March 1864. He was captured at Winchester, Virginia on 19 September 1864 and was paroled in November 1864. Rather than return to his unit, he went home to Elbert County, Georgia, where he joined a reserve cavalry unit in 1865 and served until that unit disbanded on 23 April 1865. He died in 1934 in Elbert County, Georgia. Private Pickens Eli Willis, Company I, 52nd Georgia Infantry. Willis enlisted on 4 March 1862 in Dawsonville, Georgia. For a time, he was detailed to hospital duty. He became a POW when Vicksburg, Mississippi surrendered to federal forces in July 1863. He was disabled by disease contracted in the military and was given a discharge from the military at Dalton, Georgia in either December 1863 or January 1864. He passed away in Dawson County, Georgia on 20 November 1911. Junior Second Lieutenant Peter H. Fenlon, Company B, 19th Georgia Infantry Regiment. Wounded December 13, 1862 at Fredericksburg. Died of his wounds on January 13 or 16, 1863. He was born in Ireland. Company B, the Jackson Guards, were raised in Atlanta, Fulton County, Georgia, and had many Irish immigrants and men of Irish descent. Private Pinckney Prothero, Company D, 2nd Georgia Infantry Battalion. He enlisted on 28 August 1862 in Griffin, Georgia. He was mortally wounded and captured by federal forces on 23 July 1863 at the Battle of Manassas Gap, Virginia. 17th Georgia Infantry, Lieutenant Colonel Charles W. Matthews, Meridian, Mississippi, died September 20, 1863. Private Leander Green, Company H, 9th Georgia Infantry. Green enlisted on 8 March 1862 in Quitman, Brooks County, Georgia. Throughout his military career, he was frequently absent with pneumonia, bronchitis, and other illnesses. He was wounded at the Battle of Fredericksburg, Virginia in December 1862. On the muster roll for January and February 1865,
He was listed as absent without leave since 12 June 1864. However, another record lists him as a POW. Private Alfred Webb Mullins, Company E, 23rd Georgia Infantry. Mullins enlisted on 31 August 1861 at Camp McDonald. He was captured near Fredericksburg, Virginia on 3 May 1863 during the Chancellor's Campaign, but soon returned to his unit. Private George Washington McGinnis, Company G, 9th Georgia Infantry. McGinnis enlisted on June 12, 1861 in Lafayette, Walker County, Georgia. He was captured on 1 July 1863 at Gettysburg. His name is on a list of sick and wounded at USA Smallpox Hospital, Point Lookout, Maryland, on 11 November 1863. His last record on file, for January and February 1865, he was listed as absent prisoner. Private George Fennell Newton, Company C, 61st Georgia Infantry. Newton enlisted on September 7, 1861 in Quitman, Georgia. He was wounded in the left arm at the Battle of Gettysburg on 1 July 1863. Captured when the Confederate Army retreated back to Virginia, his arm was amputated, ending the war for him. He is armed with imported English gear in this image.
First Lieutenant Andrew Jackson Heelan, Company G, 9th Georgia Infantry. Heelan's service was short-lived. He enlisted on 12 June 1861 in Lafayette, Walker County, Georgia, and resigned on 1 October 1861 at camp near Fairfax, Virginia. Private James Bright Stanley, Company K, 22nd Georgia Infantry. Stanley enlisted on 31 August 1861. He was captured at Gettysburg on July 2nd and died due to typhoid fever at Fort Delaware on 13 August 1863 while being held as a POW. Private David Crockett McLean, Company E, 60th Georgia Infantry. McLean enlisted on 14 May 1862 at Camp Calhoun. He was wounded at Gettysburg on 1 July 1863. He was captured at Bristow Station, Virginia, on 10 October 1863 and was exchanged in February 1865, just 2 months before the war ended. 4th Corporal Jonah C. Hovis, Company K, Walker County Volunteers, 39th Georgia Infantry. Hovis enlisted on 10 March 1862 in Lafayette, Walker County, Georgia. He became a POW when Vicksburg, Mississippi surrendered in July 1863, but was paroled. He was mortally wounded at Missionary Ridge on 25 November 1863 and died on the 30th.
Private Osborne Cicero Cole, Company I, Hutchins Guard, 16th Georgia Infantry. Cole enlisted on 16 July 1861 and was frequently in hospitals in 1862 for various ailments and illnesses. He was killed at the Battle of Chancellorsville, Virginia, in 1863. Lieutenant William Jasper Keown, Company H, Walker Bartow Invincibles, 23rd Georgia Infantry. He enlisted on 23 August 1861 at Camp McDonald, Georgia, as a private, and rose through the ranks to lieutenant. He was wounded in the left hand in July 1864. There were plenty of native-born Georgians in the Battle of Shiloh, but not so for actual Georgia regiments. In fact, no Georgia infantry regiments fought at Shiloh. One Georgia unit to serve at Shiloh, though, was Girardi's Georgia Artillery Battery. The man pictured is an unidentified member of the Washington Artillery, not to be mistaken with the Washington Artillery of New Orleans, but the Washington Artillery of Girardi's battery. This battery was attached to Gen Jackson's 3rd Brigade, being engaged near Larkin Bell's Field on the Confederate right flank. Private James Monroe Settle, Company D, 31st Georgia Infantry. Settle enlisted in Savannah on 14 October 1861. He served for a period of time as a teamster. On 13 December 1862, he was wounded at the Battle of Fredericksburg, Virginia. He was captured at Farmville, Virginia on 6 April 1865, ending the war for him.
Through the lens of color and light, we see them again. And in seeing, we remember. This is how history lives, not in words, but in faces. Thank you for watching.